Welcome to episode 53 of the MMG podcast. And I just realized that the episode number is the same as the Super Bowl. Wow, that's stunning. Anyways, welcome to the MMG podcast, and I'm joined by my good friend Gocubs 711.
Top 5 sports fuck-ups that happened in the last 48 hours. Number 5, Mizzou football gets handed a penalty from the NCAA because one of their tutors cheated on the athletes' tests. Number 4, the Knicks trade away one of their best players. Number 3, Saints fans still not over 2 weeks ago. Number 2, Washington Redskins still racist. And number one, Patriots can't even commit biological warfare. Correct? Infect one of their own.
The last one needs to be explained. What?
So a lot of Rams players showed up on the injury report this past week with illness.
Oh.
And people were conspirizing. What's the verb for making a conspiracy?
Conspirating, yeah.
Conspirating. A lot of people were conspirating that the Patriots purposely made the Rams sick, and then Donta Hightower came out with an illness today.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that pop up here every now and then. That's funny. Yeah. So they can't even inflict poison. What's it called? Plague dot ink or whatever it is. Plague ink. They can't even plague ink correctly. Jesus. Yeah. So, anyways, welcome to episode 53 of the MMG podcast. That I'll be talking about Super Bowl 53. I cannot believe that I made this thumbnail in week 16, and I did not fucking realize that it actually correlated. That's pretty impressive.
I thought you were gonna say this was episode 69. I was gonna be a lot more excited.
Well, I mean, we'll get to that. This maybe sometime next season, but I find it just a very much a cosmic alignment for what we're about to talk about here. So yes, Super Bowl 53. At long last, this game is gonna be fucking played.
Yep.
And we have now had a week and a half, or nearly 2 weeks to digest everything that has happened over the season. And certainly on Conference Championship Sunday, and now we are finally getting ready to play the big game in Atlanta. It's been quite the festivities down there. Been fun to watch on TV. A lot of interesting stuff coming out of Atlanta. And we're going to be doing our picks, obviously, for the Super Bowl. We'll be talking about the game itself. We'll also touch on NFL Honors, which is going to be tomorrow when this podcast comes out. And then, but first, the first thing I want to touch on, because I love doing this, I always like finding every little connection that I can between each of these teams, connections to the setting of the Super Bowl, just general storylines of Super Bowl Sunday, because that's just why I love watching football, really, is the storylines behind it. So we'll dig into that. But before we do, Gocubs, what are you most excited about Super Bowl Sunday?
Mainly just to enjoy the football game. Try not to get too upset about the fact that it's the Patriots for the third year in a row. Enjoy rooting for the Rams and enjoy the last football game that we'll have until August.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get our fix if we're into the Alliance of American Football.
Oh, that's right.
That is happening a week from now, but it's still it's the NFL. We're gonna have to say goodbye to it for a little bit, but at least we have an interesting offseason. The following 2 months is gonna be quite insane and fun. Three months. Because free agency is fun, and the draft is fun, and then you got a lot of crazy stuff that is going to happen.
And then I start preparing for fantasy football in May.
Oh yeah, there you go. Well, because then you have all the play. You're gonna have. Do you guys have your rookie draft early, or is it like?
I don't know when we have it.
Okay.
But I'm just preparing in general.
Yeah, I got you. So
it'll probably be close to the season, so we don't have something like Darius Geis, for example.
Yeah.
Going down.
Yeah, that's. I think that makes a lot of sense. But it's gonna be interesting, and we'll talk more about the off season. Obviously, the next podcast we'll finish the best 16 teams in the league. We'll talk about all of them and their off season, what they're gonna have to do to either make the playoffs or get back to the playoffs or even get back to the Super Bowl. And we'll see how that goes. But all right, no more dilly-dallying. Super Bowl storylines. Let's touch upon it, shall we?
Let's do it.
So
take it away.
The first thing is this is the Super Bowl's return to Atlanta. We back in it was the 1999 season. It was the 2000 Super Bowl that they decided to have Atlanta in it, and there was a great piece by Sports Illustrated. I forget who ended up writing it, but it was one of the more chaotic Super Bowls. The weather was just insanely bad, and there's just ice storms that happened throughout the week that kind of ruined the hype of the Super Bowl. There was also the just the game itself. It was the Rams playing in that Super Bowl, and it was against the Tennessee Titans. Many people will know it as the game that it was that the Titans tried to extend the ball as the time hit zeros and they could not get the touchdown. And it was just an insanely amazing game. And then just 24 hours later, everyone's not talking about the Rams Super Bowl, but they're talking about Ray Lewis being arrested in Atlanta for a potential murder. So it was a lot. There was a lot that happened, and there's a few more things that happened in Atlanta. But it kind of, all that rough around the edges stuff kind of stopped the NFL from coming back and being a part of it. But the new stadium and new atmosphere, it's a very much a football city, and they're like, hey, let's bring it back again. And so far so good. Nothing chaotic has happened yet. So that's good. Football wise, this is the first time since 2012 that no number one seeds are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
was that the Joe Flacco year?
That was the Joe Flacco year, yes. And Joe Flacco, I think the Ravens were the 4 seed and the Niners were the 2 seed.
Okay.
And that was a battle. That it was a nice battle between Kaepernick and Flacco, and it is weird because my next point I'll get to is for how this was a chaotic road for both of these teams in a lot of ways to get to this point. Yet it's the most predictable matchup that we kind of thought would happen when we started the season, because I think none of us knew the Chiefs would break out the way they would.
No.
And we knew the Saints would be contenders, but because of the offseason the Rams had with loading up their roster, and because the Patriots are the Patriots, we thought this was gonna be it.
Two teams just seem like they would just be here.
Yes, and
pick them up, put them down. Here we
go. But it was a little bit more than that, because while the Rams they basically had the season that we expected them, they kind of faltered near the end and ended up taking the 2 seed. The Patriots, I mean, look, their storyline of them being an underdog is ridiculous, but
it's bullshit.
They had one of their more tumultuous years where They go 1-2 to start the season. They get a huge they on the losing end of a huge blowout against Tennessee. They lose a miracle game in Miami. They finally lose to the Steelers. And then Josh Gordon, their great trade acquisition, unfortunately, has to go on commissioner's exempt list. And so it's just a rough tumbling into the playoffs. They still somehow get a bye, and then they still somehow make the Super Bowl. And part of it, they changed their identity, but it was just such a weird run up for both of these teams to have been 2 seeds, and how we're so used to seeing 1 seeds in this fucking Super Bowl. And it's just like you would think that this was the top teams in the NFL, but they weren't, and I mean, and we were close to having that again. So that's interesting. Also, this is the next chapter of Boston versus LA.
It is. With the earlier, like, the Boston LA rivalry was huge, especially back in the 80s when the Celtics and Lakers were the only teams in the NBA doing it.
Yes.
And was actually, I believe this is true. That was that series was the reason why the game, like the best of 7 pattern, went from 2-2, 1-1-1, switching between cities, to 2-3-2.
I didn't realize that. No.
Yeah, because the travel time was so much between those 2 cities, and those 2 teams were in the postseason so much that they decided to change it to that to reduce on travel fatigue and make the games better.
Yeah, and like I think about the Magic Johnson Larry Bird rivalry, that was so huge in back then, and now and literally we just had a World Series where it was Boston versus LA. Yeah. And now we're back at it again, and who knew that LA would have a representation in the Super Bowl? But here we are. Like 3 years or 4 or 5 years ago, they're like, if someone told me that Los Angeles would be in the Super Bowl, I'd be like, wait, what the fuck? Because I'd be like, what's a LA in football?
Yeah.
We'll touch about on a few interesting points with the Patriots. I mean, once again, like you go back to like last January. Do you remember that report that came out about the Patriots and how like everything was falling apart? Bill Belichick like hated the fact that or Bill Belichick traded Jimmy Garoppolo against his will and felt like Tom Brady was about to drop off, and Tom Brady was like, like, fuck you, Bill. Like, and like everyone's like, Brady's gonna retire in the offseason, Rob Gronkowski's gonna retire in the offseason, like all these panic storylines throughout months and months and months, and then the way they started the season, and then the way that they kind of had their season play out, it was like, all right, well, this might be the end, and it was not.
Yeah, I'll take the L on that one too.
And they stole Team Chaos, man. Like, this is one of the more chaotic teams this season, and they stole they stole our label. I've got everything taken away from me by the Patriots. They've even taken Team Chaos.
Chris, no. Team Chaos is ours.
No, I know. I Team Chaos, it knows. It knows that.
It knows that the Patriots aren't Team Chaos.
No, not anyway. They try. They try to be. You know what? They're just trying to be cool like us. And they're just trying to be chaotic, but they can't. They can't ever get that label. No way. Also, the future. But speaking of Gronk on this one, there's the future of Gronkowski, because I think out of everyone that's a part of the Patriots organization, his future is being the most questioned, and it seems like a lot of people are just saying, yeah, he's retiring, he's gonna pursue an acting career, gonna go to WWE. I think there's a lot of people that are throwing it out there. I will believe it when I see it, but to me, out of all the scenarios, Belichick retiring, Brady retiring, Kraft selling the team. I don't know. Just I think Gronk is is the one that I'm like, yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, Gronk is the most. I think Gronk retires this year. Brady and Belichick still have at least one more year.
Yeah, maybe two. And another thing, one last thing on the Patriots. Um, this team is in Atlanta for the first time since completely destroying the Falcons in the last two quarters of Super Bowl 53 or 51 rather. And
I bet they're getting a warm welcome this week.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, I wonder what that reception's gonna be like because I mean, there's gonna be a lot of Patriots fans at Atlanta, but I feel like they're gonna see a lot more Falcons fans just because it's in Atlanta, and I do wonder how that they're gonna and everyone's gonna respond to their existence. Let's talk about the Rams, and I think the most obvious storyline is what I will call the taint, and the. Well, okay. So first of all, dig on the counter. Second of all, the I'm calling it the taint because their Super Bowl is being seen as tainted, in the sense of this whole Saints no call thing, and what will happen if, let's say, they win, and then like what will people notice this that everything that happened in the NFC Championship game and basically see the Rams win the Super Bowl and be like, well, let's just put a big ol' asterisk on it? Like, will society as a whole reject the Super Bowl 53 champions? I'm very curious about that. How that happens.
That I say New Orleans will.
I think so.
But the rest of the country, like, I feel like at this point, most people are over it.
I think they are. I hope they are, because I'm just like
more people have their underwear up their ass, probably about the Patriots being in for the third year.
Yes, that was the main. I think like when I was hanging out in my office this week, I think that was really the main thing being talked about was the Patriots, and that was kind of reassuring. And I will say this though, Rams win the Super Bowl, potential home opener. Saints do travel to LA.
Oh shit!
So let's keep it.
And all the I just want to say, everyone who say that since that game that Goodell should make the teams replay the NFC Championship. Shut the fuck up! You don't know how it works.
Well, because there's so many logistical shit that cannot happen. They have to reschedule the Super Bowl that they've been planning for 5 years. Yeah, it can't happen.
You can't do that.
Yeah, if anything, you have them replay it that day or something. But that's the only thing you could possibly do.
And then loser gets blown out because they just played a whole fucking game of football and now they have to do another.
Right. Or some people are like, play the last minute and 40 seconds, and I'm like, do you understand? Do people understand how much time the Rams still had on the clock?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. All right, moving on from that. Let's put it in the book. We're never talking about that again. Now let's move on. The Jeff Fischer rebound, I'm calling it, because it's just kind of incredible. Remember back in 2016 when the Rams were coming off of blown out losses to the Falcons and the Patriots, and they completely got destroyed by Seattle after firing Jeff Fischer. And Rich Eisen had a great story that he was talking about on his show where he said that he was kind of on the plane while the team was traveling back to Los Angeles, and how dead the team felt. And it just felt like Les Snead, the general manager, his head was about to be chopped off, that this team was not going anywhere anytime soon because they had nothing. And that brings me to the legacy. This is a legacy game for Sean McVay. I know it's early in his career, but he has turned this team around into something really special. And it's not just even the offensive from the offensive standpoint. You have a guy like Aaron Donald who had been playing well for years, but there's just something about, and it could be Wade Phillips you could give credit to as well, but this reign of McVay being around, Donald has been the most unstoppable defender in the league. And all these guys that are Rams players that were just afterthoughts for so many years, that they're being recognized for how good of players they are. And a lot of them are young and they have this opportunity to play with a really good head coach. And guys like Gurley and Goff, who had to live a little bit in the McVay area, have had these breakout seasons one after another, and it's going to be a huge game for Sean McVay and how people see him going forward. And he's a great coach who turned around a really tough, really shitty franchise to what it is now.
Not only that,
yeah,
like his hire and what he's done has inspired head coaching hires literally with every other team in the league.
Yeah.
Just hoping that someone who was in the same was in the same room as Sean McVay.
Yeah, it's
one time and like kind of waved at him once that his offensive genius would rub off on them and bring their team some success.
I bumped into Sean McVay once. Does that count?
Does that count?
Yeah. I am now the offensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers. Another storyline, Todd Gurley. What's he gonna be? That's been one of the bigger talked about storylines, but Todd Gurley.
He was still the touchdown leader of the season.
He was. Even after being out.
The last couple games because of a knee injury.
Yeah.
Did well against the Cowboys, but then didn't do really anything except for one touchdown run out of 4 carries against the Saints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that he will do stuff.
Yeah.
I believe him when he says that like he wasn't playing well. That's why he wasn't in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
and Anderson had the hot hand.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what they're gonna go with, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you.
He's not going to not be good.
I would be surprised if he was completely quiet in this game, because I think you have like McVay had his press conference too, and he said, I didn't give him enough carries, so that's partly on my fault as well. So they fully recognize the situation. They fully recognize that he didn't play well, and McVay feels like he didn't use him properly. I think in 2 weeks you get that figured out. And the question is, will the Patriots be prepared to deal with 2, running at you fast running backs, like that? I mean, sure, the Patriots also have 2 of those as well, but it feels like it could be a shootout. Who knows?
Yeah.
The underlying storyline too for the Rams, Dante Fowler, remember him? The guy.
Yeah.
Jaguars failed their top 3 draft pick. Had a lot of off-field issues. I don't know if it was necessarily domestic violence or anything like that, but he just had like a persona that was very much that he got into fights with his fellow teammates, and it was just not a good look for the Jaguars, and they had to let him go, and so they traded him to the Rams. And since then, he's been a sneaky good candidate for them, and it's a sneaky good trade for this season, and he's kind of having this redemption story with this Rams team, because it seems like he's now in an environment that he's at least behaving himself, and but he's also playing out of his mind. And he had a great NFC Championship game, had a huge stop that got the Rams the win, and that's going to be interesting to follow moving forward. Um, will LA finally like the Rams? Does will Los Angeles actually be like, hey, we have a good football team?
Well, they're not going to do that with the Chargers yet.
I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Like, LA has 2 good football teams.
Yes.
And they don't like either. Look,
they like the Raiders.
I had, yeah, living relatively close to the city of St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people who are, like the southern part of Illinois is is closer to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a good mix of Chicago and St. Louis fans there.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some friends as well as some family who are from the St. Louis area. They do not like the Rams. St. Louis folk.
Yes.
Because frankly, the organization did not treat the city well.
No, it did not. It was a big issue.
It was. So there's still a lot of Rams fans out there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
As for Los Angeles, I don't know, dude. Look, LA. I have a lot of strong opinions on the city of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they'll warm up to the Rams if they win a Super Bowl, and everyone will pretend that they liked them the whole time.
Yeah, right.
They'll start bandwagoning when there's nothing left to be excited about.
Yeah.
Like they already won the game, and you can like root for them, but like they just won it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote this question a few weeks ago, and then the turnout for the Rams going away party when they were flying to Atlanta was huge. It was a massive turnout. Probably not as big as the Patriots, but it was still like pretty sizable crowd. I mean, knowing the ownership, okay, maybe they planted a few people, but it still looked like, oh, maybe LA is warming up to them. So I am very curious to see if they win the Super Bowl. I'm curious to see what the feelings of an LA team being in or the NFL being in LA, like how that whole feeling maybe changes over, because I think it will. I think deep down people realize they like having a winning team representing their city, and they'll fall in love with them. I mean, it's hard not to.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, like there was so much, like I had no idea what a hockey was until the Blackhawks started like playing well in 2010. I knew what hockey was, but I barely knew the rules and stuff, and I never watched it.
Yeah.
So like there definitely will be that effect of like, oh, my city do good. Go city.
Right.
This is slightly off track, but
that's
there's
okay.
I watched this show called Adam Ruins Everything.
Yes.
And he did one about football, and he was basically talking about how you root more for the city and the logo than you do the team itself, since the players and coaches and management change so frequently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is like fine. That's just sports.
Yeah. That's been me with the Mets and the Rangers forever.
Yeah.
I love rooting for them. I don't know fucking any of the players. Maybe like one or two.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully I know Cubs players. I'm at least happy about that.
Yes.
But yeah, you root for the team.
Yeah.
Or you root for the city more than you root for like the players.
Exactly. Yeah, like when it's this sport and you're invested in the players, and that's how you root for it. But when you're not as invested in the sport, you have your teams, and they represent your city. You're like, yeah, that's the first guess.
I respect the fuck out of Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah.
I hate watching him.
Yeah.
Because it brings me so much grief.
As an anti-Wisconsinner.
Yeah, I'm anti-state of Wisconsin, but
join Canada.
That's Minnesota. That's like the Canada one.
That's fair. All right.
Yeah.
Um.
That's just South Canada.
Yes.
But yeah, I digress.
Yeah.
LA, I think will warm up to the Rams being there.
Yeah.
Especially when the new stadium's built.
Oh yeah. I think that's what I think once they get their uniform changes officially, when they can officially get the stadium, once that all the merchandise can really be made for this team, because it is a team in transition despite the fact they're in the big game, like that. I think that's when they'll get excited about it. One last note on just the Rams. Like I said earlier, this was they won their first Super Bowl in Atlanta. So it's just fitting that they're back in Atlanta for this one.
Excellent.
Now between the comparisons, between the two teams. First, the old soul, the versus the young gun in Belichick and McVay, and Brady and Goff. That's very much the theme of the Super Bowl. And Belichick and McVay were texting a lot during the season. That was one of the cute storylines that came out of media night, or the last few days prior. And Jared Goff and Tom Brady kept on having like whispering to each other during media night. I don't know if they're friends or not, or if Brady was just whispering threats to him. But the two of them are both from California. They're both California quarterbacks. And speaking of regional comparisons, the Mr. Todd Gurley and Sonny Michel are both Georgia Bulldogs and are playing in Atlanta as the starting running backs.
Or Nick Chubb.
And
I was kidding. Nick Chubb's in a good situation.
That's fair.
I had to do one last Browns dig this season because I'm not gonna be able to do those next.
Imagine the fucking Browns are the ones that break the Patriots streak at the Super Bowl.
Chris, you cannot put that image in my mind right now. We have too much else to talk about.
The Patriots beat the Rams to kick off the dynasty, which was that's been the biggest talking point.
Yes, also true.
The Patriots were the ones that beat Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, and that whole greatest show on turf, and kicked their ass. Not really, it was a close game, but they ended up kicking off. And you know what's funny about that is that you had a few games prior where a controversial call, known as the Tuck rule, led the Patriots, supposedly. We could probably make the same arguments that we have been, but that supposedly were the ones that gave the Patriots the win and kicked off the win and got their first Super Bowl win ever. What if the Rams, coming off a controversial week, come into the Super Bowl and beat the Patriots to kick off a dynasty, and like 10 years from now, we're fucking over the Rams?
Well, like, at least right now, Goff and McVay are likable.
Oh, for sure.
Brady and Belichick are not.
Yes, but I feel like if we were this age now and we were living in 2001 when Brady was this undrafted underdog quarterback and Belichick had always been like a good assistant coach but never really got over the hump. With the Browns he was not successful. Left the Jets like after a day, and that both of them haven't really been able to have glory at a head coaching or quarterback in position, and then they both win the Super Bowl, and the Patriots get their first win in franchise history. I feel like back then I would have been a huge Patriots fan.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
It's just it's just how their images have changed because of how much shit has happened since then for them. Mm-hmm. That like I picture this, that like standing on that stage in 2001 and like just leaning over to Brady and be like, wait till you see where you are in 2019, the same place. I wonder if he has like a kind of, I don't know if he'd be like, obviously he probably would be excited, but if someone came up to you and was like, you'll be in the same place 20 years from now, I don't know if we'd all react in a, that's nice. I feel like Brady's a very special situation.
I don't want to currently be in my parents' basement.
Right. Brandon Cooks, another big storyline. He just beat his first former team, the team that birthed him into this NFL, and then the Saints traded him to the Patriots, and the Patriots traded him to the Rams. Now the Rams are facing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So Brandon Cooks now.
Brandon Cooks needs to win. He deserves it.
So Cooks is now going to be on center stage. And
Chris.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
You know what needs to happen?
Yes.
They need to trade Brandon Cooks to the Rams. Baker can throw to the cooks in the kitchens. I've solved it. This is a big cheat code.
They had to trade him to the Browns so that Baker could throw to the cooks with kitchens.
With kitchens.
Oh man! Wow, NFL. You want to boost your league right there? Make it happen. Force it to happen. My God.
I'm sorry, I had to.
No, I didn't even ever think about that. That's pretty good. Matthew Slater, a longtime special teams player, longtime special teams captain, been through quite a few Super Bowls with the Patriots. For the first time, he's faced the Rams before, but he's facing his father's teams. Jackie Slater, a Hall of Fame player for the Rams. He's facing his father's team in the Super Bowl. Thought that was interesting. Wade Phillips, Aqib Talib, and C.J. Anderson of the Super Bowl 50 Broncos take on the Patriots, who they squashed in the AFC Championship game. So there you go. And one last little storyline here, and because it tickled me just joyful when I heard it the first time. Flashback to 2007, okay. A MAC game between the Kent State Golden Eagles and the Miami, Ohio Redhawks.
Jeez. And
leading, right there, hold on, I have the game up. I think the Redhawks were the ones that won. They won 20-13. And they had a receiver in that game with 3 catches, 37 yards. By the name was Sean McVay.
Oh.
And they took down, on the other sideline, Kent State quarterback Julian Edelman.
Okay. All right.
And so Sean McVay has played against quarterback Julian Edelman before. And now head coach Sean McVay will be taking on wide receiver Julian Edelman, or at least Wade Phillips will be. But still,
Same.
They're all facing each other.
Yeah.
So I like those little tidbits. Where like, hey, little connection there. For that. So there's probably more. I didn't do a lot. Like I didn't dive too deep into it. I mean, I did a lot, but there's probably a lot more connections that could be made. I mean, Sean McVay went to high school in Georgia. He won a state championship there, so he has connections there. There's a ton of players that also are from Georgia, but that's just the South, because it's like every player is from the South. But there's a lot of stuff, but it is very interesting. And also Sony Michel, playing in back-to-back championship games in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So
that's true.
There you go. Another little tidbit that I just pulled out of my ass there. So you got all these little connections, and it's all gonna lead up to one big old butt fuck of a Super Bowl. And Gocubs, what are the keys for the Rams? I don't know. Let's start with the offense. What is the key?
Can I just give my answer for both?
Yeah,
teams?
Go ahead. What's the keys?
Establishing and stopping the run game. Because Los Angeles has the best running back playing in the game right now in Todd Gurley. Along with C.J. Anderson, who is also a really good running back and really fits their system and what they can do. New England Patriots, have three really dynamic running backs in different ways, in Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, and James White,
Mm.
who has been acting more like a receiver, but still technically a running back. So both of those teams are going to have to get their run game going through those running back cores, and how they utilize the run game and utilize their multiple running backs in the best way possible.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
addition, their defense has got to stop that from happening, because when they're on,
Mm.
and it's going to be hard for I think both teams to stop both run games.
Yeah, I think that you have more of an established solution with the Rams because you have Aaron Donald and you have the Namokan Su, you have Michael Brockers, you have a steep defensive line that I think could absolutely stop the run from happening. The question's going to be for the Rams defense is the pass catchers because as well as Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters, that they played in the NFC Championship game, they're not they haven't really played extremely well all season. I mean, Aqib Talib has, I think, more so than Marcus Peters, but they're gonna have to be able to stop the running backs coming out of the backfield to catch passes. They're gonna have to be able to stop Edelman and Gronk all of a sudden had a fucking the game of the season for him last 2 weeks ago. So having all that's going to be a lot more difficult. But then you look on the flip side, though, and the Patriots defense seems like it's not as established because of the way that their season has been. They were the second worst in sacks, or at least among the worst in the sacks and side of things. But then you had Kyle Van Noy and Trey Flowers, who all of a sudden kind of arose and became the stars, certainly the stars of this postseason thus far on the defensive side. And Stephon Gilmore, who has been a lockdown corner for the Patriots. I still cannot fucking believe the Bills let him go to the Patriots. Shows where those fucking three franchises are. But that's gonna be. But I think my biggest concern with the Patriots defense is they have Stephon Gilmore, and yes, Devin McCourty, he's played well, but the rest of the secondary, I'm not, and the linebacking core, well, I shouldn't say that. The defensive line, I think, is more so. I should talk about the secondary and the defensive line for the Patriots. Overall, has not really shown up too much for this Patriots team. Stephon Gilmore certainly, but it has been a tough season on defense overall, and I think that's going to be the toughest thing is how do you contain the running backs in the situation? How do you contain all the weapons that the Rams have? That will be the biggest question on that front. And Tom Brady and Jared Goff, you have to get to them. You have to attack them. I think the Patriots don't have the weapons like the Rams do in terms of up front, but I think Tom Brady has the ability to get the ball out quicker and be more accurate than Goff is at this moment.
Yeah,
but it's
just Tom Brady's more experienced and has been
right.
Been doing this shit 50% of the time over the past 18 years.
Yeah, the oodles and oodles of times. But I hated hearing it over and over again, but it's true. The experience is going to be a factor when it comes down to this game. But we've seen teams like the Eagles, who had not a ton of Super Bowl experience on their team last year, go in and beat the Patriots. So you never know. Anything can happen. And with that, I give you the floor, Gocubs, your final pick of the 2018 NFL season.
Look, as much as both of the teams that I wanted in the Super Bowl did not make it this year, my streak was shattered.
Mm.
This season, which is okay.
Mm.
Like, I'm not gonna get butthurt about it. I do believe my preseason pick was Rams Jaguars, but I'm not gonna count that.
Yeah.
Just because, like, oh, it's the Rams. Of course, it's gonna be the Rams. Until the season actually happened. But the I don't know what I'm trying to say to support the fact that I'm choosing the Rams. Other than I think the defense for the Rams, I believe, is going to step up in this game. They're going to get Todd Gurley moving more and more. My one concern, and this has been like the fucking thing all season, is the kickers. Because Greg Zuerlein got a foot injury in the last game.
Yep.
And I don't know if he's going to be 100% healthy. And we see what happens when you have a great kicker like Zuerlein or like Gostowski. And
Gostkowski has had a rough time though too. To be fair.
Yeah, but he's still dependable.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And Zuerlein is too though.
Yeah. But like if Zuerlein isn't at 100%, that is going to be a huge factor in this game because kickers matter.
Yes.
They're really important.
Yes. No. I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is going to be hard. That being said, I think that the offense of the Rams, the offense and the defense of the Rams are still both going to outperform the Patriots and be able to win this game. Wait, hold on. Who's playing in the white uniforms?
Patriots.
Patriots? Okay.
That got shattered last year.
Oh, what? It did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The Eagles were in green.
Okay, yeah. That's right. Okay, so we're good then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go Rams. Your helmets are really well designed. I really like them.
Yeah, the Rams are going with the throwbacks. The reason why I like the Rams, in a lot, is because of Sean McVay and because of this offense and the fact that he's kind of brought this innovation into the league. That be like, hey, we don't have to follow the same fucking playbook that the NFL has been like so like a stickler by, and they're doing it again. Like they're as simple as, hey, we're wearing our throwbacks in the Super Bowl. Like we're gonna be we're not gonna conform to the home team rules or anything like that. Like just use our regular home uniforms, but like everything about this team has been innovative, and Belichick made a comment about Wade Phillips where he was like, well, his defense has been the same forever, but the way that Wade Phillips has implemented his defense with these guys is he implements it in a way where he's not changing a whole lot, but it works well because there is the little intricacies with using the talent that is presented to them that makes the defense work well. And so all of that, and plus the fucking punter is a star. Like Johnny Hekker is one of the greatest punters of all time, and he's gonna have a spotlight on this team because he's a trick shot artist. He's able to punt the ball down to the 1 yard line in almost any ability. He's made punting fun in the NFL. He's an innovator.
Punt to win.
Another innovator. So there's so much innovation happening. With that said, my soul got crushed a few weeks ago. And and last few times I picked the Patriots to lose, they won.
Yeah.
It's why I've done my thing for so long with the Patriots and trying to keep that streak alive was because I was like,
you've been fucking that up because your heart was in it.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know what you said, but I think we're all on the same wavelengths there.
I said you've been fucking it up because your heart was in it.
Exactly. And my heart can't be in it anymore. I have to take it out because it's been destroyed and shattered and beaten up. And I just think when you have a stage like this, the Rams are the underdogs again, but it feels like you can have the Patriots come into this stadium here, and it may have been destiny for the Rams to get to the place that they are, but you can't just topple a dynasty that has just been dominating year after year. And it's amazing how for so long that all these fucking teams have just lined up and just let the Patriots take care of business. And the Eagles were the one team that said, no, we're not going to let that happen. And much as I want to say that the Rams would be that team, the Patriots are on a groove. They've been the best team in the NFL the last few weeks, and I just don't see a massive flaw with them at this point outside of maybe their defensive line, but even that's been dominating as of late, that I could see where the Rams are going to be able to exploit it. I'm worried that this may be a blowout, and and that is coming from the heartless shell of a man that I am after going through all this, going through the end of the season. It's a bummer, and it's a bummer for what the season has been to this point, that the Patriots are going to win this game, and we'll just wipe the floor of the Rams and anything fun of the season that was left. So there you go.
Well, on that downer, I do want to point out that with our picks, Rams for the postseason, Rams win, and I win by 2. Patriots win and we tie.
Yes.
At
least for the postseason.
For postseason.
Yes, and yeah. I do want to say something to you, Gocubs, because I was actually going to wait till the finale to do this, but I'm going to just do this now because why not? Yeah. I'm officially going to award you the Browns' victory in week 12, because I thought about it. I was like, you did say that you were gonna pick the Browns, and I think that as much as we want to, the whole big thing that I made, the whole reason I made the rule that I did was because I want to hold myself accountable with the picks I made, because I don't want to be like, come back the week later and be like, no, for sure, I changed the pick last minute to this team. Yeah. And like it was a way of holding myself accountable. But I trust what we talked about. I think that people who would listen to the podcast trust the fact as to why you were picking the Bengals at the time, and when it switched around on you, you kind of got screwed. So with that being said, you have won the regular season competition.
I feel good. Because of this gift that you've bestowed upon me, I'm never gonna make fun of the Browns again.
You won the competition 60-59. And what also drastically changes, actually. Remember the teams picks thing that we talked about?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I still did better than you for the Browns, unfortunately. Even though now you were 8-7-1 picking them. You were initially 7-8-1. Now you're 8-7-1. I was 10-5-1. But the Bengals are a different story, because initially I was 13-3 and you were 12-4. But now with the Bengals being a correct pick, it's a tie, and that means that instead of the overarching record being 12 correct teams for me, 11 correct teams for you, and 9 ties, it's now 11, 11, and 10. We are tied across the fucking board for the team picks. And
that I mentioned something that first podcast after that game that was like, this one game better not matter in the end. And it did.
It did. And you just it was the Hugh Jackson. It was not, everyone's gonna remember as the first time Hugh Jackson, playing the Browns since he got fired. But no, it's the game that Gocubs toppled me in the pick competition. And and ended up having a 156-98 record versus a 159-99 record with me. So congratulations, Gocubs. I wanted to present that to you.
Thank you.
Before we finished off here, and regardless of what happens here, I mean, I won't be beating you in this playoff round. So
yeah. I thank you. I thank you for giving that to me.
Yes.
I hope it didn't seem like I was like just like bitching about it.
No, I understand though.
Because but my reasoning was clear.
I think it was just, it took me a little bit, and it was like it's hard. I don't want to stray from how we usually try to conduct everything and try to hold ourselves accountable to the picks that we do. But I think since during that podcast, the reasoning why you were picking the Bengals in that game
was because
AJ
Green was going to.
That was your sole reason, and then you said any other reason I would pick the Browns. And then, I mean, fucking ESPN, man, saying that AJ Green was going to be, AJ Green was totally going to play, and he didn't. Yeah. And that ended up tipping the scales, and so now I want to rewrite history here, get you back on the right foot. So, by the way, you now with that, you now have a 160-104 record overall, which is counting the playoffs. While I'm sitting at a 158-106 record for through the playoffs at this point. So that is that. And on when Sunday comes around, it's gonna.
When Sunday comes around, you are going to be a stressed boy. Like, you chose the Patriots, but you're gonna be ranting and swearing at me the entire game.
No, I'm gonna just go silent. I'm gonna go radio silent.
No, I want to talk.
No, of course, but then, like, you're gonna be trying to text me and be like, you're reacting to what's happening in the game, and I'm just gonna go radio silent when it's like 28-7 Patriots at some point, and I'm just gonna be like, you're gonna be trying to text me, get in touch with me, maybe call me on my cell phone. I'm just gonna be like in a cocoon, lying in bed, eating pizza pillows, like just absolutely just in tears, just being like, whatever, man.
Enjoy, Chris. Can I give you some advice?
Yes.
Enjoy the experience.
No.
Enjoy the Super Bowl even if you're not like even if the football part isn't that fun. Yeah. Look, you get Maroon 5. Quick, name one member of Maroon 5 that doesn't end movie.
I mean, you've lost me already.
Okay.
We may get the greatest halftime show of all time if we get SpongeBob.
Yeah, like, what if the SpongeBob thing happens? Like, you're gonna want to watch for that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe the commercials won't be garbage.
Very much, hopefully.
They probably will be, because advertisers are they're more concerned about who pays the most money than who actually makes the most.
That was the other thing with Atlanta. That was the first Super Bowl that had all the website commercials that were really strange. And it kind of changed the way the commercials were happening. That was another part of the article. I apologize. Keep going.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's going to be okay.
Yeah. When
the game is over, you are still going to be a human being with life goals and aspirations.
Yeah. Yes. Are you sure? No.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes, I agree, and I think that's the way you want to approach it. And I just fucking Patriots. They ruin it. They ruin everything.
Yeah.
They ruin it. It's just no, I get it, and I think that a lot of people are going to be upset with them winning their other championship. But to me, whenever they win, at least now, it's like maybe
this will be the end. Maybe they'll retire.
Yeah, there's like
that's the feeling that I
there's the aspect of like maybe when they're holding up this trophy, like they kind of get that feeling like, you know what, 6 fucking trophies in our careers, like that's a lot, I don't think anyone's gonna ever come close to what we've ever done, and I feel comfortable hanging it up at this point. And then we'll come back a year later and we'll be like, maybe at 7 tournament.
2020. That's the year where it just ends.
Maybe after 19 championships, they'll find out. They'll figure out. Maybe it's time to retire. Brady's 80 something. Bill Belichick is just a robot with a brain implanted in it.
It's still the same amount of personality.
Same. Yeah, pretty much. But I just all the people that are refusing to enjoy this week's Super Bowl. I mean, there's some valid reasons, but then the reasons of it's totally Rams shouldn't be there, or whatever. I feel like we should enjoy the Rams Super Bowl as it is, because as much as we've enjoyed the success of Sean McVay and Jared Goff to this point, you never know what could happen, and with the NFC being as constantly changing as it has been, you never know if the Rams will come back again. I may look back at this podcast 15 years later and laugh in my fucking face when we're in the midst of a Rams dynasty, but just saying, you never know. And for the Patriots fans, maybe this might be the last time with Brady and Belichick. You want to enjoy that as well. So you never know. I doubt it.
Yeah, pretty unlikely.
Fucking... Sorry, one last point. These spoiled-ass little kids born in, fucking 1990... or late 1990s... that pretty much their entire life has just been Patriot success. Oh, man. More than anything do I want those kids to suffer.
Oh, okay. Going after 8-year-olds now.
They're not 8-year-olds. They're they're our age. They're 19, 18-year-olds.
Why are you calling them kids?
I'm calling them kids because they were kids when they...
We are adults with human jobs.
They were kids when they first started this fucking dynasty, and so they're the youngins of this Patriots generation, and they've lived through this entire thing. And all they know in their life is success, and it's disgusting.
It's football, Chris. Please remember that.
I got something to say about their parents. No, I'm kidding. No, whatever. It's gonna be great, and I will enjoy the hell out of it. It's the grand finale of the 2018 NFL season, which has been an outstanding season, despite it's rough around the edges. It's been an amazing season to this point. It's been fun doing this season again with you, Gocubs, and we will be back. Oh, I'm sorry, NFL honors. Completely forgot about that.
Oh yeah. Let's do that.
NFL Honors is tomorrow again when we upload these videos. So we're gonna just quickly go through our final predictions for all the bigger awards. And I'll predict my Hall of Fame class at least for the ones that I just throwing something at the wall and see if it sticks. I don't know. MVP, who you got?
MVP Pat Mahomes.
I got Pat Mahomes as well. Coach of the...
I think that this isn't from a all of these aren't from a who I think should get it. It's who I think is going to get the vote.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
But I also think Pat Mahomes should.
I agree. Coach of the year.
Shit. I'm gonna go with I'm just gonna go Bears Matt Nagy.
I have Matt Nagy too. I think he's the favorite to get it after the season that he had. Offensive player of the year.
Todd Gurley.
I have Todd Gurley as well. Defensive player of the year.
Aaron Donald.
Yeah, same as me. Yeah, so the Rams are gonna they're just gonna take all these player of the year awards every fucking year, aren't they?
Yeah, that's fine.
The offensive rookie of the year.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be either Baker or Saquon. I'm gonna give it to Saquon.
I'm gonna defer. I'm gonna go Baker Mayfield just because I feel like he had the better season overall, despite the amazing nature of Saquon Barkley's season. I know as a Giants fan, that's like blasphemy that I just did that, but I'm just saying Baker Mayfield's resurrecting a franchise here.
Yes.
And defensive rookie of the year.
Who is the name of the guy on the Colts?
Darius Leonard.
That him.
Yeah, I'm going with him as well. And comeback player of the year.
Deshaun Watson.
Ooh, I feel like he's a dark horse candidate at this point.
Maybe. I can't think of any other names.
I'm going Andrew Luck. I think that he.
Oh, Andrew Luck. Yeah, duh. Fucking duh. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's gonna be Luck or Watt, but Watson is a dark horse candidate.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be Luck.
Yeah. Want to take a crack on the Hall of Fame?
I literally cannot name any players for you,
All right.
so I can't.
All right. So I'm gonna say it's the 3 first-year eligible guys: Ed Reed, Tony Gonzalez, Champ Bailey, and I'm gonna just throw in Tony Baselli and Don Coryell in there as well. I don't know how legit that's going to be. It probably is not. I think Gil Brandt will also be elected. Pat Bowen's probably going to be elected. Those are the few of the contributor and senior finalists as well. I think anyone who's in that category usually goes in. I think there might be another contributor candidate or senior candidate that I'm just forgetting about at this point. In that front, I apologize, but those usually get in because they're just like on their own, can just be brought in. But those are gonna be like the 5 modern era finalists I think that get elected. But that's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Also, big advice for anyone who watches the NFL Honors: stay the fuck off of social media because the for some reason and stay off of NFL Network because the awards start rolling out before you actually see on television, because I'm guessing the award show is like on a half-hour delay. I think part of that is because they worry about the jokes the hosts make, and so they have to be prepared ahead of time to edit them out.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the reason why they do that. But just so if you want your full enjoyment, like being surprised by anything that happens, just don't fucking watch like anything online or on TV, and just keep the channel that has the award show on. I believe it's CBS because they're hosting the Super Bowl this year. Oh, fuck! Forgot about Tony Romo. Tony Romo's gonna be in the Super Bowl. This is gonna be great.
Yeah. Take that, Cowboys fans. The only way that you're gonna get into the Super Bowl this time.
I will say this.
I'm gonna take all the shitty that ended up Browns fans and divide it evenly between the Raiders and the Cowboys.
I listen. I know that you are not gonna believe me when I say this. I actually hate the Cowboys more than I hate the Patriots, just because.
Yes, thank you.
I do, because I'm like the Patriots. At least the Patriots have a reason to have the fan base that they do. The Cowboys have no fucking reason to have as many obnoxious fans. And Robert Kraft is at least likable. Jerry Jones is the least likable fucking owner out there right now. He's just the most I can't.
At least look, like I always say, if you're a Cowboys fan, your happiness begins and ends on the whim of Jerry Jones.
Which is
why would you want to do that?
Why would you want to put your balance of happiness on that? I think the Redskins are up there too. Maybe above the Patriots for me.
Redskins are absolutely awesome.
It's just the organize, like at least the Cowboys and Patriots have stable organizations. The Redskins are the most the Redskins are more tumultuous than the Browns. Like hands fucking down. And they have a stable owner that or quote unquote stable owner that like they don't have to sell their team every 5 seconds. But he's been awful. Bruce Allen's been awful. The whole front office has been awful. I like Jay Gruden, but fuck, his teams can't win because everyone else around them is awful. Just it's
and everyone on that team seems to get injured for some reason.
Yeah, and Alex Smith might not even play next year, so we're looking for another quarterback now. Yeah. There you go.
Fuck that franchise.
Sorry guys. Sorry Cowboys and Redskins fans to shit on you in the last minute when you're not even associated with the Super Bowl.
Sorry.
But this is just our feelings. We're letting them out. I want to make Patriots fans feel better or / worse that I don't hate them the most. So there you go. Anyways, guys, it's Super Bowl week. Enjoy it. I will enjoy it. I'll figure out a way to enjoy it. I'm gonna have fucking pizza pillows shoving up my mouth.
Have as many pizza pillows as you need.
And I'm just gonna enjoy the hell out of the Super Bowl that way. So I'll be fine. I'll recover, and we'll be able to come back on whenever we actually filming this next podcast. Probably early in the week this time, but we'll see. Whenever we record the podcast, I'll be okay and recovered from whatever Patriots loss, or I'll be fucking happy because the Rams win. I'm not gonna rule out Rams win. I'm just like fucking everything. I'm gonna just think of anything pessimistic at this point. Yeah. And Gocubs, any parting words? Any ways that you're gonna be celebrating the Super Bowl? Anything that else that you'd like to mention?
I would like to mention this. Like we talked a bit today about like enjoying the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And like being human.
Yes.
There is a fantastic, wonderful, wonderful piece of media called 17,776. Which I want to, Chris, when you get the chance, to search that number and click on the first link that you find in Google when you have an hour and a half of time to waste.
And what is it exactly?
In short form, it's a story.
All right, great. Love the vagueness. Yeah. Really appreciate the vagueness.
I don't want to say much more about that, but if you're interested, it is this amazing look into humanity, and how we would and how basically it's to summarize it, it is what would happen if all of humanity became immortal. And the way that we spent our time was playing football. I seriously recommend that you give it.
This is it seems like it's gonna take a very dark turn.
I don't want to say it.
Yeah, no, I know. I that's what I'm assuming, and I think that's a very.
It gets deep.
Yes, I think that's it's gonna be that'll be fair analysis, but also if that sounds like it's gonna be a very good readout. I will look into it, and hopefully everyone else will too.
It's written and created by John Boyes, who is one of the main creative directors for SB Nation. And he has a great set of video series called Pretty Good and Chart Party that he does both on his channel and on SB Nation, that you should also check out. But it's a fun time, and 17,776 I really think you'll enjoy.
I think that's something that I would definitely be interested in. I bet that many people involved with football would be interested in reading. I'll look into it for sure. And with that, we next week, Super Bowl game rewind. We'll also recap the top 16 season, top 16 teams of the season, essentially. So like the 4 teams that didn't make it and all 12 teams that did make it to the playoffs. We'll give some bold season predictions for 2019.
Oh, already?
Yeah, we did last year. I have it written down.
What did I say?
I don't know what I didn't write down what you said. Okay. But I did say Rams over Texans in Super Bowl 53. So that wasn't too far off. But to be fair, I said the Rams would beat the 49ers and the Texans would beat the Jaguars. So
yeah, that was pretty far off.
I said Kirk Cousins would sign with the Vikings, but then I said Keenan would go to the Cardinals, Bridgewater would go to the Bills, and Bradford would go to the Giants, all of which was wrong. I said that Des Bryant will be a Patriot, that he ended up being a Saint and never really played for the team because he got injured. Richard Sherman would be a Ram. He ended up going to the NFC West. and that P. Diddy, Steph Curry, and Colin Kaepernick would buy the Panthers. That did not come to fruition.
That definitely.
That was a bold fucking prediction on that front.
I think one of mine was like Le'Veon Bell was going to like sign with the Browns and then get traded back to the Steelers.
Because
you're what actually happened with his situation was weirder than what I said.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, that's fair, and it'll be someone's gonna sign him. That's for sure.
Where does he go? Where do you think he goes?
I mean,
say that for next.
Yeah, we'll talk about that with the Steelers because we also have Antonio Brown now to talk about too. So that's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Killer Bees are no more.
Yeah, they're just falling apart. All right, guys.
Just like real bees.
Oh, poor bees. My God. I was dark for a lot of this podcast. You just come in just saying that bees are falling apart everywhere. No, I enjoy the Super Bowl, everyone. Enjoy Super Sunday. And please, if be safe. It's one of the most tumultuous seasons or tumultuous days of the year where everyone's fucking drunk off their ass because they have a reason to drink. So please be careful on the roads. All that stuff, because especially since the Super Bowl is very much earlier in the day than usual other games. So be careful out there. Enjoy it. Go Cubs, enjoy it.
I will. You enjoy it too.
I will enjoy it, and we'll see you guys post 2018 NFL season. Bye bye.